So here is Capo de Capi, aka Cappy, and we are at the Ocala Winter Horse Trials at the Florida Horse Park, and just getting him a little bit more prepared here. I felt a little wiggly before I went down the center line. I like to always practice, if I have the time, to do like a circle just to set them up before I come down the center line. So we are doing the prelim test. So this is a move up for him. So he's coming down. He feels pretty good. Albeit maybe a smidge tight. And so now coming to the lengthen trot, I had a sneaking suspicion he might break a little bit, just because he was a smidge on the tight side, especially when we have a lengthening movement that happens a little bit early on. So then coming into the leg yield here, again, just a little bit of, I'm not sure where I'm going, but he felt very workmanlike, and he's actually starting to really settle as we go through the test here. And he was very good in the warm-up, so all these things were big deals for Cappy. So now coming into our canter loop, and you'll see I'm wearing a my cross-country number. For this facility, they were requiring that we did this. This is not normal for us to have to do in the dressage phase. And my number kind of shifted to the side, so it looks like I'm leaning, but I'm really not. So now coming across the diagonal, that's supposed to be an X, and he kind of broke a little bit on me a little soon. But again, we're just developing his strength, and really for him is the mentality and getting him rideable. And he's also getting much better and more comfortable in his mouth. And I'm really liking the frame. He's starting to really sit and come through, and he has a lovely canter. So then working here on the lengthening on the 20-meter circle. Sometimes he likes to kind of drop through that wither and drop that shoulder, but he actually held it together pretty good. And I chose to kind of sit the trot here just to help keep him together. And you can see he kind of wants to drop a little low and kind of fidget around. That's kind of where the tension is coming out now, which is better than when he used to do it in other ways. So this will get better and better. But I'm happy that he's kind of allowing and is stretching down. I just have to work on that. And his walk has always been a little tight, but you can see I'm alternating my feet. I like to teach my horses kind of that cue to walk, so you're not holding your breath when they walk. And it can help just kind of keep the motion and keep them kind of used to movement. And on the second leg yield, he kind of came up above the bit, but that's getting better and better. And now we go into our stretch, which he offers a pretty good stretch in the beginning. And again, he did good not to speed up or anything. So I had it about halfway through. All these things are constantly being worked on, but now coming through to the final half 10-meter circle. And making sure we get nice and straight. And into our final halt. She stepped up pretty square. I was very, very pleased with him and how well he did. He scored a 35, so a nice, decent score. And now moving on to the show jump. And again, he felt very professional in the warm-up. Sometimes that can be a little hard for him, like emotionally, but he was feeling very kind of on point today and very relaxed. And I was a little worried about this first jump because it's off the turn and right by the gate. And if we kind of know Cappy, he's been known to kind of go towards the gate, but he was very much on focus and went on down to the first jump, gave me a lovely shape. And again, over that Oxford, I was like, okay, he's here to play. He felt very good and jumped that vertical really nicely. So my goal here with him is really to keep him forward and to keep him kind of up and coming. He can sometimes tip a little low, but he's really trying. And he jumped that line very good. So now coming through the turn, I see a little bit of a gap to this oxer, so I made the choice to kind of keep coming to that. But I knew I was going to have to steady here for the 6. And he just ticked the rail, but then he fixed himself over the second one. And then jumped that oxer very well. I have a little bit of a drop in the shoulder here, but again, now I'm working on making him wait to this vertical, and he did. And he really jumped the move X very well. I was actually quite shocked he jumped that so good. And finished up over the last fence. And just had the one rail down, but really pleased with Cappy, and he celebrated a little bit there. So now on to the cross country. Now this was all held on a 1 day. So it was pretty nice to kind of keep the momentum flowing. And again, I wanted to make sure for him, I came out of that box getting him to focus, because again, Cappy can kind of be a little bit, want to nap a little bit, but he didn't. He went on to the first fence, and I could feel him kind of go, oh, this is up to gear. So he really has a nice gallop, but he's starting to get focused here. Jumps the second one really nicely. And then it was really fun to kind of feel him kind of gallop up and keep moving along. And there was a bit of the flyer at fence 3, and I wasn't quite sure how confident he was feeling about that, so I just made sure I kept my body back and stayed behind him. Got a really good shot here. And now coming to this fence 5. And this was quite a tight turn. I thought I was kind of going a little quick, but he was good to kind of take a peek and jumped right in the water, and I could feel him go, is that my jump out of the water? So he got a nice pat for that. And again, he's come such a long way. He used to be really worried about water. And it's nice feeling him starting to really get confident. And you can just see his lovely galloping stride. That was a tricaner in the woods that you couldn't really see, but that's not a problem for him. So now I'm heading to what's called a pimple jump. So there's a house on the hill here. So I want to steady him up a little bit because I want him to have a little bit of time to read this. You'll see he gets in a little close, but he's so clever and quick-footed. I really loved the footwork that he was doing. And I can see my brow band got a little crooked. I think I let him scratch his leg, so it looks a little annoying, but I'm just trying to steady him here, and he says, let me have at it, Mom. I'm feeling very brave, but again, I want to steady here. I have a coupe kind of off of a left-handed turn by the barn there, and I was worried again that he might drift, but he didn't. And you can see kind of that awkward distance we got from this angle, but he was very good to go. And again, super clever footed. I was really pleased with how well he was willing to maintain going forward and just figured out his footwork. So I felt that was really educational for him. And my goal with my horses is when I come to those, we don't always find the perfect distances, but I want to be really secure in my body, holding my shoulders back and keeping my legs on, and kind of, it's almost feeling like you've got your train on the tracks type feeling. And you can see there over that skinny fence, even with the terrain, he was very focused and locked on. And heading to this table, Find a great spot, jump that beautifully. And again, I'm going to set him up a little bit, slow him down here so he can really see what's being asked of him. There is a rail going down the hill, which he likes to be pretty careful to, so he comes in a little slow, but I don't really panic. I make sure I support, and then we head up the hill to this corner, and he is absolutely perfect and held the line beautifully. So then we can get back into our rhythm. And then we come to another table here. And again, I'm heading to another combination that's going to have a little bit of terrain, so letting him gallop on here. And then you'll start to see my body starts to change a little bit. I sit up to get him to rock back on his hocks. And you might be able to see through these trees. We go down the hill to another chevron, and he was super good. And then heading to another table. Actually, I think that was a set of rails. And I was having a lot of fun because it was just really coming up nicely out of stride for him. And then we were coming to what's called a coffin, which was a set of jumps, it was a coop to a ditch and then to another brush out, and he was beautiful through that. It's really great when they understand the questions. And now we're coming to the kind of tail end of the course here. Again, he's feeling really good. I know I'm a little bit down on my clock, probably about 15-20 seconds or so, but that's about kind of, appropriate for his first prelim. And really, time is the last thing you work on, adding speed. So I was really pleased with him. This was a pretty stout and tough first prelim, but we ended up with just a handful of time and finishing in 8th place.